Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about my thoughts on the Netflix Good Times reboot. Ugh, Lord Jesus have mercy. Anyways, so I wanted to take a while before I wanted to talk about what I just saw a couple of days ago when I saw the trailer. I want to give my thoughts and opinion on it and also try to clear up some misconception as to who exactly created this and everything. It's like, I don't even know what to really say. I am offended. Like, I am truly that of offended when I see this because this show appears, now listen to me, I said appear to be the biggest stereotype that has ever been created. Because this is exactly what is wrong with people's interpretation of black culture and how people interpret it, especially those that are not black. And in fact, even those that are black who might have a problem with black people or act like they're not black when they are, like Raven Simone, like, you know, their interpretation of how people are and everything. This show is exactly, when I think of this show, I'm thinking of Raven Simone when she said that she won't hire nobody with a black sounding, like African type name and, you know, all that other crap. And, you know, this reminds me of that, but I'll give my opinions on it a little bit later. So I was on Twitter one day and I saw Seth MacFarlane's name trending. And I'm all like, oh wait, are they giving the update on the Orville? Is it not canceled? Is it is? Like, there's been no confirmation either way. And so when I clicked on it, well, actually at first I didn't click on it. Then I saw Good Times trending. I'm all like, Good Times? That show from like what, the 70s, 60s? Where a decade is from? The 70s, I think. Why is that trending? Did somebody die from there? Which I just found out. That one lady did die on the show a few years ago. Oh man, that's so sad. I always liked her. She was so pretty and stuff. And so, like, I clicked on it and I saw this weird cartoon. I was just like, what the heck is this? And then I saw Seth MacFarlane because somebody was talking about him, talking about, well, he failed with the Cleveland show. So I guess he's taking another whack at it and everything. I'm all like, no, man, please say he didn't create this show. And so here's the thing. So, you know, I went online, I did some research and this and that. And then I saw the trailer. I was so disgusted by that trailer. I was disgusted by like the trailer and everything. And so I've been trying to find as much research as I can on this show, which isn't that much. Now, there's a huge misconception as to who exactly created this because so many reputable, like, you know, news networks or news sites and stuff like that, sources, keep saying different things. I don't really know, honestly, who created this and stuff, but there's been a lot of misconception as to who did. And that's one thing I want to address in this video and also give my like opinion and stuff, because a lot of people seem to assume, well, mostly just black Twitter, that Seth MacFarlane created this. Now, of course, Seth is the guy on the far end right and everything, the dude who made Family Guy and All American Dad and this and that. And I'm thinking of myself in Cleveland show, and so I'm thinking of this. Those are the animated shows. Because when you look at this cartoon and see the trailer, that has not came out yet. It hasn't came out on Netflix yet, but it's about to. But when you look at the trailer, this isn't Seth MacFarlane's art style at all. His style is very much Family Guy, All American Dad. They have that same art like style and everything. And the Cleveland show, the certain jaws in people's faces, the nose, the big circle eyes and everything. And so I'm like, there's no way Seth could have like fully made this and everything. Now he is responsible, but he is not the sole creator. And I wish to God black people would stop trying to pin it solely on him, or at least the people on Twitter when this first broke. Because here's the thing, everybody saw the same article that I did, and it lists all the producers, executive producers, this and that, but they went to the dude who ain't black and tried to put it all on him, which I wish they would stop. And also, the dude who created the original Good Times, he's white and everything, but they didn't mention him. So a lot of people keep blaming Seth. Like, if you ever watched his show, then that is not his art style. And yes, he does like raunchy humor, but it's not like it's raunchy and it's bad, but it's not like this. Like Family Guy and All American Dad and the Cleveland Show, Seth does like that raunchy type humor, but it's not this ghetto and everything. And even if you watch the Cleveland Show, it's not like this. So this had to come from somebody and everything. And so, like, after doing some research and everything, because when you go to Wikipedia, there is no Wikipedia page for the reboot, but there's a Wikipedia page for the original. And there's a small little paragraph at the top that talks about, like, this show. And when it talks about it, it names the people who created this, the producers and stuff. Then you go to another source like Hollywood Reporter, and then they list the executive producers. Then you go to Variety, and they list people who create the show, the showrunner, and this and that. So here is the gist. Honestly, I don't know who created this show, because here's the thing. A showrunner is the main person who oversees a show, and most of the time they are the person who creates it. Sometimes if they actually created it and stuff. See, if there was a Wikipedia page, it would be more helpful and everything. And so if you have a producer, most of the time they are the one who created the show. And if there's no showrunner, mostly they will be the de facto showrunner, or sometimes they'll just hire somebody. And a producer, the person who puts in the most money and has the most input on the show. An executive producer is a person who tosses in a good couple of thousands of dollars or so, and they have input on the show, but it's not like as much as a producer. They get to have little tidbits here and there, but it's not as much influence as like a producer or a showrunner. Now, all these websites, it keeps listing everybody as the same. Either one website will list everybody as a producer or everybody as an executive. But once again, like I said, I truly do not know and everything. Now, the people in question are that of Steph Curry, who's a basketball player, and he has his own production company, which I never knew that. Seth MacFarlane, which has his own company and everything, and Norman Lear, who is the original creator of Good Times. Now, he has died last year in December, I believe it was. Most likely, I heard that it has his blessing, the show. When I read that part in this one article, that the fact that it had his blessing, it made me stop and think maybe he did not fully create this. He put in some money so he can get some money back and everything, because you're going to get something back eventually, especially when people stream it. But the fact that the article said they have his blessing before he died, that makes me think he did not create this fully in everything. And so most likely it could have just been a combination of Seth and Steph, and probably some other people. Now there's some other people that are executive producers, but I didn't put their pictures and names up. You have to go look for those yourself, because I saw another article that actually listed those people. Now, one interesting person is that of Carl Jones. Carl Jones was one of the original creators, or at least co-creator, of this show. But he put out a statement saying that he left the project extremely early because of creative differences. And because of that, he hasn't seen no full script. He hasn't seen a full episode. He doesn't even know what it's going to look like until everybody else does. So he got out. He got out early. How much of an influence he had on this, nobody really knows. But like he said, he never saw the animation or the script or anything like that. And he is one of the co-creators of Boondocks and everything, which a lot of people have been drawing comparison to this. Now, they found a showrunner, a woman I'd never heard of before, named Rashonda Shepard. And I've never heard of her. I looked her up. She doesn't have a Wikipedia page, and she's only done about 4 projects, which she's 4 or 6, which she's showrun or written and stuff like that. And so, like, could she be the culprit behind this? But like I said before, most likely it's a combination of the Steph, and also that of her and everything. You know what I'm saying? And so it's not just one person, it's like multiple people and stuff. Why would they want to create a legendary show in this image is beyond me. Because this doesn't resonate with a lot of people, and it doesn't resonate with a lot of black people. This resonates with the people who assume that all black people are like this. See, the original Good Times came out in like the 70s. I remember watching that show and reruns and stuff because I wasn't even born in the 70s. And the show is about a black family that lives in an apartment. The show is actually a spin-off of a spin-off. It's a spin-off of the Mods. And that was a spin-off of I think it's All American. No, not All American. I'm thinking of that CW show. All in the Family. That Archie Bunker show. Anyway, it's a spin-off of that. Back when everybody was really like, raunchy and would say whatever's on their mind and comedy shows and stuff like that. And the show's about a black family that lived in an apartment, and they lived for the most part in the ghetto, the projects. Now, saying ghetto isn't exactly what always people think. People assume that if you say the word ghetto, you're talking about thugs or like people who are in gangs and, people ending up in jail and stuff like that. It actually just means you're poor or you're living in a poor surrounding. You can have a well-rounded, educated person who lives in the ghetto. You can have a posh person who lives in the ghetto, or you could just have somebody who runs the streets and goes in and out of jail living in the ghetto. But in a way, they were a family that was just making by. And it didn't depict them in a negative stereotype. It depicted them in a good stereotype, a good, hard-working family that struggles and trying to make ends meet. And there were all kind of drama that would happen on the show that, kept people coming back for more, even though it was a comedy, because it dealt with real-life situations. And it dealt with, like, middle black America or lower class and stuff like that. And it's like I said before, whenever I started doing like Black History Month on my channel, is that a lot of these comedic shows, these sitcoms that have an all black cast, they show black people in their best light. Shows like Fresh Prince, shows like Sister, Living Single, Smart Guy, stuff like that. Normally when you will see a sitcom with an all-black family from like the 90s, maybe the 80s, and the early 2000s, it will show the way you would see a regular, normal black family and stuff. But they would elevate those black shows and those black characters and stuff. They would give them really good jobs, like in Fresh Prince. Like Uncle Phil was like a judge and then later like a senator and stuff, or a mayor or a governor or something like that. And like the Cosby Show, he was a doctor. The mother was like a lawyer. And, one reason why they did stuff like this is to show black people, hey, you can have these jobs like all these white people and stuff like that, and don't let nothing hold you back and everything. Don't end up in the streets, and don't end up in jail, and don't end up selling things. Show that you are better, so that each generation can strive to, like, better themselves and everything, because people look down on us, and we gonna have it hard no matter what decade we're in and everything. Always strive for like a higher goal. And that's what those shows were supposed to be. Inspirational shows that show black people in a good light. And, that's how it was for many years. Then you had Martin come around, and Martin had that same philosophy, but with a more street type vibe and everything. There, he wanted to show, the more outlandish side of like black people, but still show them in a good light, having good jobs and a good apartment and good clothes and this and that, and not ending up in and out of jail. And so every once in a while, you will have something come around that will be a stereotype. But the thing is, like, take Fresh Prince, Will. Actually, you know what? Let me get into Fresh Prince. One reason why this probably came about is because of Bel-Air. Bel-Air is a reboot of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. See, the Fresh Prince back in the 90s, it was about Will Smith's character who came from Philadelphia, but not know any place. He came straight from the hood where people were always getting in trouble, and he got in trouble. So they sent him to Beverly Hills and everything, and where he lived with his family, his cousins, who were very proper and very like well-mannered, dressing in suits, this and that, rich people stuff, and all their lives, Will and the Banks family was turned upside down when Will literally showed up. And they got the, they got the, what's the phrase, like, they helped each other out understand things about life. Will stopped being, well, he was always crazy and everything, but he learned to grow up. He learned to take things seriously, get a job, and not run with people in the streets that's going to get him locked up. And he helped teach the Banks, just because you're black and you're living in like, this like rich neighborhood and you have this mansion and everything doesn't mean that people aren't going to look down on you, and it doesn't mean like you're not going to have it hard in life, and they dealt with a lot of serious matters and everything. Carlton was kind of like a stereotypical white black guy, and people looked down on him that was black, and Will, people always assume once in a while that like he might rob them or something like that, but for the most part, he showed them that, hey, I'm a fun-loving guy, and people ended up loving him and stuff. I remember that one time when he got pulled over by the cops. They thought like he was just like a bad guy and everything, and it was just like this really good, fun, educational type show. And so Bel-Air started off as a short film online by fans that wanted to show, hey, what can we take Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and turn it more urban and turn it more dramatic? And Will Smith and his people saw that and was all like, hey, let's actually make this happen. And so they did. And that's how the show Bel-Air came on to be on Peacock. I still haven't seen Bel-Air yet because I haven't subscribed to Peacock yet. But from what I heard, the first season's really good. They're about to have a third season, but I don't hear nobody talk about this no more. Like, some of the people who were reviewing it don't even review it no more. I wonder if it's still good or not. And when this happened, people wonder, would this ever happen to other black sitcom shows? They even made a sketch about that on SNL with Family Matters and stuff. And I can see this taking off. And I guess the people thought, hey, maybe this could happen with like Good Times. Now, one thing about Good Times that I was able to find, the reboot, is since that Lear guy was part of this, and I think he partners with Sony, I think Sony had a helping hand in making this show. And so they had to find somebody that could put it out because they don't have their own streaming site. So Netflix decided they was going to take it, which was kind of odd that Netflix would make something like this. So, because Comedy Central would have done it in a heartbeat. But I don't see Netflix doing something like this. And Sony, the people who came and give Miles Morales his own solo Spider-Man movie without having one of the white spider people, like, you know, be front and center, or like all their movies are finished and stuff, made this, or at least helped make it and stuff. And so why is this such a bad like taste in people's mouths? Why are people offended and this and that? Well, this is nothing but a stereotype. This is nothing that remotely resembles like a third of like Black American families and stuff. See, a lot of non-black people don't know much about black folks. What they learn is what they see in TV and movies. This is also why we need more representation and better representation. This right here is literally to be made fun of and to look down on black people and stuff. When you see these exaggerated like facial expressions, when you see the way they're like, you know, depicted and everything, the way they act and everything, and it's kind of like, you know, this is every black stereotype rolled into one. Even using the N-word and having it beat for the trailer, which you know they're gonna have in the show, and I got a problem with that. And it's just like, these are nothing more but stereotypes. And you're gonna have non-black people who are legit racist, and you're gonna have non-black people who are not, and are gonna see this and be all like, maybe that's how they act in real life and everything. You know, I watched those rap videos and everything, and, you know, and from the 90s, and, you know, they're running from the police and everything. So we told you this is how they are, and this is how they are in cartoons and stuff. And it's like, this isn't made to laugh. Like, okay, the cartoon isn't made so you can laugh with it. It's made so you can laugh at it and everything. And that's all it is. It reminds me of when America used to depict Asian people early on in like cartoons and movies and TV shows, and they would show them with buck teeth, squinty eyes, talking really funny, walking really funny. This is the equivalent of the, what I just mentioned and stuff. It's not gonna show, well, hopefully, here's the thing, I'll get to that a little bit later. Like, when you see this trailer, it doesn't show black people in their best light. It doesn't see them trying to strive for something better. It doesn't even show you the different types of black people. Because I've said this before, there's so many different types of black people. Like, it is insane. This, and there are people who do dress, act, and talk like this in this cartoon. And, you know, when it comes to representation, I do feel everyone should be represented. But when you're gonna be represented, make sure it's always in the best light. Like, one of the worst ways to represent people is reality TV show, Duck Dynasty, The Kardashians, Jersey Shore. Here comes Honey Boo Boo. Dance Moms, something pregnant, teenage pregnancy, whatever that show is called, 16. All those shows depict all of these different cultures in the worst light possible, and they cast some of the worst people possible. Like, these are some people who don't deserve to be famous. But at the same time, people should see the different like views of American society, like the whole Honey Boo Boo and Duck Dynasty, a bunch of redneck hicks and everything. But they're shown to be like a stereotypical redneck hick. And then when you see them in their personal lives away from the show, they are some of the worst human beings possible and everything. Like the grandfather from Duck Dynasty, or Mother June and Honey Boo Boo dating an adult when she was a teenager of all things. And don't even get me started on those people pregnant at 16. Just about everybody from that show had some kind of run-in with the law, along with the people from Jersey Shore. And so that's not showing people in their best light from different cultures. If you're gonna show people, if you want to show like a ghetto family in their best culture, Martin was a good example of that. And there's been some others and stuff. Like, you know, what is it? Like, I can't think of it. Oh, that's Seabear and Jamal and everything. But also, it's like, crap. What I was gonna say is, it was something to do with that, those reality shows. There's a Canadian show that I tried to watch. I can't watch, like, I watched every episode, but I can only watch a minute of every episode. Because if I watch more than that, I feel like I'm losing brain cells. It's called Letterkenny on Hulu. And it depicts redneck hicks from Canada, of all places. And yes, they have them there. And the problem I have with the show is just they ramble and repeat the same thing over and over, but in a different way. Like, if you was to say something, take your hats off, and they'd be like, all right, boys, take off your headgear. And then other people be like, all right, gentlemen, take those hats off. Like, they'll just repeat the same thing, but just phrase it differently. And it goes on and on and on. And yes, they are rednecks, and yes, they are dumb redneck hits and everything, but it's more than that. It's camaraderie. You know, they join together. There's all these different groups of people, and they all come together. And when one of them does something wrong to another, they whoop their behinds. And I love watching that. And the show is written in a way that's so humorous and everything, but I just can't watch anything past a minute, past the cold opening, because when they do that rambling thing, I just can't take it. Now, the spin-off Shorzy, I can watch that. But, you know, it's showing like redneck hicks in a way that's not 100% stereotypical, in a way, you know, you can get behind them because they grow. Now, here's the thing about this show. Like I said, it's gonna appeal to some people, because some people act this way and stuff. Because let's face it, like, look, I'm black, I love my skin tone, I'm down for the brown and helping like black folks out, but you know, black people mess up way too much. I got so many cousins in jail, it's not even funny. I got so many raunchy ghetto cousins, it's not even funny. And it's just like, so this will appeal to them, you know what I'm saying? And the thing is, it's like, black folks have to do better in life, because it's not just us people gonna look down on, it's gonna be our kids and every generation that comes around, and every other black person in America. You don't want people thinking all black folks act like this, because that is going to literally be their interpretation. A television show will teach you a million times better than any book, any classroom, or any observation you will have in the real world, because this will stay implanted in your brain like a photograph for the rest of your life and everything. This is why people hate taking bad pictures. That image is going to be stuck in your head forever and ever. And when all these people in America and all these people in the other countries going to see this, they're going to think, oh, I've never met a black person before. I guess this is how they act and everything. And you just don't want that and everything. And this is literally just like, I don't want people thinking all black folks use the N-word, because I'm really sick and tired of that. This is why I can't watch a lot of black shows. There are so many good black shows I start to watch, and I'm really getting into them, because there are some on some streaming sites that I've never heard of before that are new. But in the moment they use the N-word, I just can't take it no more, and I'm done. Like, I'm done. I ain't for that word. If I'm a slave, then call me that and tie me up in some white person's backyard. But I don't live in those times, no, period. So I don't want to be called that. I don't want to hear it on TV. I get tired of hearing it every 5 seconds. It don't make no sense. And you always want, like, you know, black people to be, like I said before, be in a positive light, because look at all these black celebrities that mess up, and it pisses me off when I see like a lot of athletes, mainly the football people, who are constantly on TMZ being investigated for like sex crimes and drugs and weapon charges and speeding of all things, causing a crash. It's like, really? You made it in life, and when you made it in life making those millions, you just want to screw your life up? Or all these black rappers who are always in and out of jail, or always investigated, or always have some kind of criminal charge, or like, you know, they influence young black men with the video imagery that they have in their rap videos and stuff, and the way they present themselves. But when it comes election time, they turn their backs on black people and stuff. And you have people like Raven Simone, Tyrese Gibson, Idris Elba, that Miles Morales voice actor dude. Just like, you know, when black people are down, they put them down even worse. And you don't want that type portrayed in everything. You gotta pick yourself up. And you gotta stop messing up. You gotta pull your pants up, literally, come tired of seeing your underwear, and stop running in the streets and acting a fool. Because it's like when Black Lives Matter happened, everybody was out in the streets protesting, even in other countries that don't have black people. They was willing to march and protest for us. And how did so many black men decide to repay them, or black girls, like teenage girls on YouTube beating people up, running in the streets and acting a fool and committing crimes? And it's like, for what? All that was for nothing? And so now you don't hear about Black Lives Matter. If a black person were to get like injured or hurt or shot or killed or whatever, and you start seeing that hashtag, you know as well as I do, those non-black people be like, oh, this again. Well, we tried to help you, but you didn't want to help yourselves and everything, and we don't want to do that again. Because that's what's going to happen and everything. Now, this show might actually be beneficial. It might actually be good. It might not just be a stereotype. It might just look that way in the trailer, but like I said, people don't really know because the show has not come out yet. And a good example of that is Insatiable. This came out on Netflix a few years ago and lasted for 2 seasons, and it starred Debbie Ryan. And it started off with her being a really big girl who didn't like being big, and people made fun of her. And then she got like punched in the face by a boy, knocked out cold to where she had to be put on one of those liquid diet type things on an IV drip and everything. And she lost a lot of weight and became skinny. After that, she felt good about herself. And so that's what the trailer depicted. And so many people in the big community hated that from what they saw in the trailer. They're all like, oh, this show is just gonna like fat shame us, and talking about like you're not happy if you're big and you're only happy if you're skinny, and talking about body positivity. So people wanted to boycott this show because of that. And I'm not joking, they literally tried. But when you watch the first episode, that's it. That's the only time they make fun of big people. It's in the first couple of minutes of the first episode. Other than that, they don't do it no more. Now, the show was terrible for other reasons, but not because of making fun of big people. But people overreacted before the show came out. So maybe, just maybe, this could be one of those shows that just has a really ghetto like family, but they're depicted in like a better way. Only time will tell. If it is not, and this is just like trash and everything, shame on everybody that created this, and shame for all the people that are voicing it, which they're used to doing that outlandish type comedy. And Seth Curry, I don't know nothing about Steph Curry, like his personal life, so I'm surprised he made this. Seth MacFarlane, I mean, come on, Family Guy. But he has come a long way. And when he did the Cleveland show, it was nothing like this. So part of me is surprised he did this, and part of me is not. Now, eventually, when the show come out, they will probably finally reveal who is the sole culprit in creating the show in this depiction and everything. I'm so pissed I could flip a table. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.